Seems like we can't escape from the NFT buzz that's going on around the world today. Welcome to the Daily Forkast, March 23rd, 2022. I'm Angie Lau, Editor-in-Chief of Forkast, covering all things blockchain. Well, the NFT frenzy is showing no signs of slowing down, with Australia's Blockchain Week taking a deep dive into the intellectual property rights today, while China's blockchain-based service network has increased its support for NFT developers in China. We're going to take a look at those stories and more coming up. Let's get you up to speed from Asia to the world.
Join thousands of NFT traders who already start their day on CryptoSlam.
But first, some big IPO news, or rather retraction in this case. Amid escalating global uncertainty and market volatility, Fusang Corporation has decided to defer its security token IPO. Forkast's Timmy Shen has more.
Licensed in both Hong Kong and Malaysia, the company's ecosystem includes Fusang Exchange. Having gained regulatory approval for its security token IPO back in January, the company had planned to list tokens which represented its shares in digital form on its own Fusang exchange on March 31st. However, it has now decided to defer the listing, saying that while they are operationally ready, the current market uncertainty caused by the conflict in Ukraine means going ahead would be unfair for investors. Their CEO told Forkast the decision was not taken lightly.
We decided, and the team and the board ultimately decided, that actually would be in the best interests for all of us, not only as a company and shareholders, but really the entire market and the security token industry, if we ensure that when we do this, we really do it right.
Though the IPO has been deferred for the moment, trading activities on Fusang Exchange remain uninterrupted. For Forkast, I'm Timmy Shen.
Well, those macro concerns don't seem to be having an impact on the NFT space. However, indeed, support for homegrown NFTs is growing in China. The state-backed blockchain-based service network, or BSN, has announced the addition of Zhong chain to its open permissioned blockchain ecosystem. Now, the new chain adds to the options offered by BSN for developers to build decentralized applications, and it was developed by telecoms giant China Mobile, which serves as one of the 4 founding members of BSN. The Zhong chain serves users on the BSN DDC network, an infrastructure that allows for the issuance of NFTs in China. And important politically here, it does it without the involvement of cryptocurrency transactions. Unlike cryptocurrencies, NFTs are not banned in China. However, state media outlets have issued warnings about their speculative nature. You can find those stories and more at Forkast.News. Over in Australia, meanwhile, the Australian Blockchain Week event is well underway, with Wednesday's agenda in Melbourne moving the focus onto NFTs and intellectual property rights in particular, alongside discussions on the metaverse and GameFi. We sent Forkast's Lachlan Keller there to find out more.
Taking place at Melbourne's Marvel Stadium, Day 3 of Australian Blockchain Week took a dive into the rising importance of intellectual property rights. Michael Bassina, a partner at Piper Alderman, said that IP issues had been very much overlooked for a long time. However, he suggested that an upcoming case over a Pepe the Frog NFT worth $500,000 could set a precedent for the industry. While fellow panellist Alana Kirshner of Guestwork Agency questioned whether the restrictions some NFT marketplaces impose on users, preventing them from reselling on other platforms, would hold up to a legal challenge. Jeremy Lolinger of the National Basketball League warned that we may be in an NFT bubble, and that those who understand blockchain technology are the ones who will come out the other side and capitalise. Getting onto all things Web 3.0, Animoca Brands co-founder Yat Su spoke on the need for rapid adoption of all Web 3.0 technology, saying that the faster people join, the more distributed it will be, and without that happening, a new kind of elite could be inadvertently created. For Forkast, I'm Lachlan Keller in Melbourne, Australia.
Well, staying on that theme, there is no stopping Bored Ape Yacht Club creator Yuga Labs from scaling their NFT business this year. The Web3 company has raised $450 million in its latest funding round, marking one of the largest seed rounds for any non-fungible token collection to date. With this development, the company's valuation has now risen to $4 billion. The funding round was led by A16Z Crypto with participation from Hong Kong's Animoca Brands and its subsidiary, The Sandbox, as well as strategic partners Liontree, Sound Ventures, and FTX, just to name a few more. Yuga Labs says it plans to use the funds to grow its team and for joint ventures and partnerships. The company also recently made headlines for its acquisition of rights to NFTs, CryptoPunks, and Meebits, teasing its gaming metaverse project Otherside, as well as the launch of ApeCoin from ApeCoin DAO. So what am I saying here? All of this adding up to a very strategic play in NFTs and the metaverse. Well, the explosive growth of NFTs shows no sign of slowing down. It's now estimated the industry could be worth $30 billion this year as demand for digital collectibles and gaming shoots up. So where is this all going? Well, it's all in an exclusive new Forkast research report in partnership with CryptoSlam coming out this week. And we have Randy Wassinger, founder and CEO of CryptoSlam, a cross-chain NFT data tracker and aggregator, joins us right now to discuss what lies ahead for the industry that will be critical to our digital lives in the future. And it's really great to see you, Randy. This is a powerful report. We're really excited about it.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for the partnership, of course, and yeah, thanks for having me today to talk about it a bit.
All right, we're giving everybody a sneak peek here. We've dissected the numbers that you aggregate every day, Randy, you and the team. These are unique data sets on the NFT market and really the only data aggregator that monitors cross chains here. So that's what makes it super comprehensive. And we're seeing NFT demand showing no signs of slowing down. The overall market grew over 570 times in 2021 compared to the previous year. And more recently, when you take a look at monthly sales, in January of this year, it hit $4.5 billion. So these are massive numbers, Randy. What are the main factors in your view that's driving this?
Yeah, first of all, if we were to talk about 2021, we have to mention the fact that crypto in general went way up compared to like January 1st of 2021. So the price of Ethereum, it like 3x, 4x between now and whatever data point we're looking at. Not to mention like the insane increased demand as NFTs went mainstream. I feel like it was obviously driven heavily by collectibles, and I feel like there was a bit of a convergence between collectibles and investors and speculators, and it just became this fun phenomenon in 2021. Very tech savvy people who just really have enjoyed experimenting, I guess, with the possibilities that NFTs can bring, and the collectibles were a huge first use case, but it's certainly just just one use case with many more to come.
I totally agree with you there. That is exactly what we're seeing as well, even in real time as we report on the day-to-day activity. But it really is, totally agree with you there, driven by the sheer number of people participating. So they're experimenting with version 1 of NFTs, buying and selling NFTs. It's been rocketing, as we know. Ethereum, one of the main blockchains on which NFTs live, saw 1 million unique buyers. Coinbase, which is set to launch its own marketplace, has 3 million people on the wait list. So you mentioned that we are V1 of NFTs. In your view, what are the other versions that we could be seeing? Where are we in the life cycle of this asset?
Well, I would say we are still very, very early. Mm-hmm. 1 million people, or I guess wallets, transacting with NFTs on Ethereum. It may sound big, but first of all, let's remember that a lot of people have multiple wallets. So any number you hear, just with NFTs in general, like with the number of users, especially on the chains like Ethereum, the numbers are inflated because people have multiple wallets for various reasons. So if you take that into account, we've really just scratched the surface with where adoption is going. So despite all the massive growth this past year, it's still got a long ways to go. So where we're at in the life cycle is just very, very early.
Oh, I mean, I think nobody even conceptualized what this was. Well, we know the people who conceptualized what it was, and we were absolutely reporting on it and talking to them. You built an entire company based on that. But I think for a lot of people, you know, it just kind of came out of nowhere. And NFTs started their life as digital art and collectibles, giving people the chance to express themselves through their avatars, becoming part of a club in a way. But where do you think the technology can take us here? Where do we go from here? What use cases do you see for NFTs in the future?
We've hit on collectibles a lot, but you can't ignore the metaverse. There's obviously a lot of traction there already. A lot of fun things to come as they are built out. But I would say, you know, even beyond what we've seen already, if you think of like any asset that can be digitized, most likely will be digitized in a way that, especially in a way, if there's a benefit for it being on the blockchain, then I feel like the sky's the limit. Now, not all assets, I don't feel like belong on the blockchain. Like, for instance, event tickets have been mentioned as a possible use case. I'm not so sure that they are, meant to, like, they really need to be on the blockchain. If an asset does persist, then that's what I feel like is where the blockchain really shines, especially when you can combine that with DeFi, where these assets that they can now be traded and bundled up and fractionalized. I feel like there's a life there that we don't even fully get yet, that is still coming.
Well, what we're excited about is that because you're looking at the data right now, you're actually keeping a very close watch as to how people are evolving the NFT space. And we're excited about the report. It is called The State of NFTs Q1 2022. Folks, keep an eye out for it on Forkast.News. And next week, we're going to dive into what's happening in the Asia space and what the numbers reveal. We look forward to chatting about this more with you, Randy. Appreciate the insights here, and thanks for this sneak preview.
You're welcome, Angie. Thanks for having me.
And that's the Daily Forecast, rounding up all the key developments from the blockchain world from Monday to Friday from our vantage point right here in Asia. For more, visit Forkast.News. I'm Editor-in-Chief Angie Lau. Until the next time.